What basic children's age-level fact did you only find out embarrassingly later in life? I was 23 when I learned I was allergic to apples. Someone was complaining about their throat closing up after smoking, and I responded with, "Oh yeah, like when you eat an apple." You can imagine how the conversation went from there. A friend of mine learned he was allergic to bananas when his mom asked why he didn't want one, and he said he just wasn't in the mood for a spicy food. We were at least teenagers. A pony is not a baby horse. I'm 47 and learned that less than a decade ago. My partner, who grew up on a farm, had to teach me, a city girl, told my parents this story. My mom was shocked that I didn't know that. My dad was shocked that a pony is not a baby horse. I had to tell my aunt, at the age of 60, that cats and dogs cannot interbreed and create some sort of hybrid cat dog. She didn't believe me at first, so I had to tell her lots of half people half sheep would be running around if that was the case. She's right actually. Not me, but a friend of mine didn't learn that Martin Luther and Martin Luther King Jr. weren't the same person until college. Exactly, one was the other's dad. One of my mates from my master's grad school didn't know that there were male and female chickens. He thought roosters and hens were different breeds. The same went for cows. He justifies hating cheese because he thought cow's milk was cow urine. We had to explain to him that piss is not stored in the udders, and also asked him what he thought happened when human mothers breastfed newborns. Piss ain't stored in the tits, mate. We were 24 at the time. Tim, if you are reading this, you were way smarter than me at neuroophthalmology. Piss ain't stored in the tits, mate, is my new Discord status. Tim, if you are reading this, piss is stored in the balls. My cousin name, growing up, we'd always call it Katori. Always that and nothing else. A couple years ago, well into my 20s, she's visiting and we go to a restaurant. Our waitress comes up and says, "Hi there, my name's Victoria, and I'll be taking care of you." My cousin says, "Oh neat, that's my name too." I was surprised by that, cause my dumbass never put together that Tori was short for Victoria. So obviously, there were a couple girls named Ellie in my grade. So on the first day of the 10th grade in homeroom, the teacher is calling roll call. Is Allison redacted? Here, one of your best friends whips around in her chair and goes, "Your name is Allison?" When I was a kid, I answered the phone when my Aunt Chris was expecting a call. When hang up when the person on the line asked for Christina. I don't know why, but I grew up thinking my Aunt Chris' full name was Christopher. My mom used to tell me the car doesn't start if the seatbelts aren't buckled. Didn't know that wasn't a real feature until I was 22. Yes, and please keep the truth to yourself around every child or drive places. Also, don't tell them it's not illegal for anyone under 18 to peel a banana in a car. Is there a specific event behind this law, may I ask? If the peel accidentally goes out the window, any car that drives over it will spin and possibly cause an accident. It took me an embarrassingly long time before I realized that when a movie had a blurb from a Rolling Stone, it wasn't the Rolling Stones reviewing it. I spent too much of my life thinking the Rolling Stones created Rolling Stone the publication. I spent until well into my teen years thinking it's cool how the Rolling Stones are so influential in music. They have a whole magazine reviewing shit. Like I really thought Mick Jagger was just giving his opinion on shit. So wanna guess what I just learned today at 39? There is no chemical in the pool that reveals speed. Buddy and I were talking about it, and we both realized at the same time that neither of us have actually seen it. We looked it up and felt dumb as hell. The Adam Sandler movie Grown Ups, or maybe its sequel, uses this premise as a gag. I like to think that will help keep this myth alive for another generation. I was a lifeguard for many years, and we absolutely told kids that the pee-revealing chemical is real. Why there are no 10 birthday candles in store? I was complaining about it with my husband, and he said, "You're supposed to put 1 and 0 together," and that was the lowest point in my entire life. I'm sure I've seen a similar post from someone saying that it was stupid to have a 0 candle because you don't have a cake for the birth. Coral is an animal. I always thought it was an undersea plant. Okay, here goes. I'm almost a senior citizen, but a couple weeks ago, I learned they actually laid cable across the Atlantic for telegraph. I was in tears when my hubby told me, because I thought he was joking with me when he said they laid cable for telegraph. I said, "No, they didn't. That's impossible." But he wasn't joking and cable was put between the continents. Then I got very upset because I was never taught that in school. We know all about it in Africa because our sea cables for internet are always getting bitten by curious sharks or some shit. And then hell countries are back to dial up internet speeds, sometimes for weeks. In college, I had a tough time trying to convince a friend that yellow dandelion flowers were the same as the white puffballs. I had to find a plant that had both stages, coming from the same base. I have an ex who I couldn't convince that the yellow flower stage happens before the puffball stage. He just refused to believe me. As a kid, I used to think the black market was an actual place, like a bazaar, where all the criminals would regularly meet up. I was only able to see the capital D in the Disney logo a few months ago. I always wondered why it was a backwards D, and 29 years old, not my brightest moment. I thought the Y was a P, like Disney. I thought it was some fancy French spelling. I was in my mid-20s when I casually mentioned it to my brother, and he nearly choked laughing. When I was 4 or 5, my mother brought me home a balloon one day. Plain blue balloon with helium. I accidentally let it go and it flew away. Being little, I was devastated. Later that night, she comes back from somewhere and tells me she was at the gas station and miraculously, my balloon just came floating by. Being a kid, I was thrilled and totally believed it. So fast forward 20 plus years. I'm on a date and we stop to get gas, and we see a balloon floating by the gas station. Probably hadn't thought of that story again in all that time, so I start telling my date the story about how I had a balloon fly away and then my mother found the very same balloon at a gas station. And then as I'm saying it out loud, I realized, too late to not look like an idiot, that of course it wasn't the same freaking balloon. I've never seen someone laugh so hard. My roommate was 21 when he learned that cows have fur. He thought they were just skin. Edit, yes, technically, cows have hair and not fur. But wait, did he think cows were like smooth tanned leather, like a couch? My grandpa used to take me fishing a lot as a child. He explained that any noise at all would scare the fish in the lake and ruin fishing for everyone there for hours. On a boat with my husband last month, at the age of 28, I realized Grandpa just wanted some peace and quiet. Edit. Some people are saying you really can't make noise, so I'll explain. My husband turned on the radio while we were out fishing. When I complained, he said, "Oh honey, Grandpa just wanted you to shut up. We caught lots of fish and made all the ruckus we wanted." Similarly, my elementary school teacher told us that we had to be very quiet once it started snowing, because noise would make the snow stop. I continued to believe that for decades. That the eggs we cook with would never become baby chicks because they are unfertilized. My 31-year-old girlfriend thought islands don't touch the bottom of the ocean. A US congressman asked in an official hearing if too many people would cause Guam to tip over. Can confirm this is a thing. Was a kayak surf snorkel guide in Hawaii, and a staggering amount of people asked me how long it would take to swim under the island. My grandma always made me eat the crust of my bread because it has the most nutrients. In college, when I told my younger cousin that in front of my grandma, she laughed and said, "I only told you that so you wouldn't waste the crust." Similarly, that if you turn the lights on and off too fast, you'll start a fire. Once I became a parent, I realized it's just a way to stop kids from being annoying. My mom taught me eating the crust would make my hair curly. I have super pin straight hair. Few years ago, I was searching for different classical pieces in Spotify, getting frustrated that every version Spotify had works by composers like Beethoven and Bach were covers, performed by modern orchestras. My idiot brain was looking for original records from the 18th century, until it finally realized how dumb that was. New release from Tchaikovsky, the 2021 Overture. Thanks a lot for watching, and don't forget to watch other videos.